last decades, I would say that Latin America shows really a spectacular increase of women in education, not only in primary education, secondary, but also in higher education. Women outnumber men in higher education, particularly in some careers, and in some universities, and of course in some countries, because Latin America is a very diverse, heterogeneous region. But the trend is that women are more and more entering all levels of education. Another important progress, as the number of women researchers is very high. It's one of the highest in the world. Is around 42-42% of all researchers are women. So in terms of numbers, I would say that women are showing that they really want to or have the opportunities and also want to enter education and also be involved in research, either in social sciences and also in the so-called hard sciences. There are also some advances in terms of policies, especially in the councils or national councils of scientific research. And I think that in the public awareness of the importance of the contribution of women along history, all throughout history, to science and more recently to technology. Well, I would say, as quoting Irina Bokova, the director of UNESCO, that equality is not a game of numbers. Equality has much more to do, or involves much more than have an equal number of men and women in education, or even the increase of the number of women in education. It's important, it's necessary, but it's insufficient. The main challenges are to incorporate to education a gender perspective. That means not only equality, but means understanding science and technology with gender lenses. That is to know which are the needs, which are the experiences, which are the knowledge that needs to be addressed when defining or designing a research project, and which could be the impact, the differential impact of all research projects in men and in women. So it's changing what we understand as research, as knowledge, scientific knowledge. No? That's one challenge. The main challenge is changing the culture of institutions, within the culture, the norms, and all the stereotypes that are in everyday life, in the daily experience of science and technology environment need to be changed, so that those women who enter those fields have not to adapt to this culture, to this male-dominated culture, but have all the possibilities of growing, of contributing in a culture that is much more friendly, much more supportive to both women and also men. Well, the Sustainable Development Goals of the 2030 Development Agenda is a very ambitious agenda. It's a very comprehensive and ambitious agenda that deals with the problems that are really very important for today, for society, you know, and poverty, education, gender equality, climate change. It's a very ambitious agenda in a context that is very difficult. It's very complex, that we are withdraw of some of the gains we had in the last decades in terms of human rights, in terms of the increase of unemployment, of the increase of poverty. However, I think that what we know and we can trust that more and more people and more women, in fact, as well as men also, are not satisfied with the way society have turned to be. And there are more mobilizations of women, for instance, women struggling against sexual harassment, against violence against women, but also for education and also for human rights. I mean, in this context, in this particular context, I think that higher education plays a very important role. First, because if more people have the possibilities to have access to higher education, they will have the tools for producing knowledge and producing proposals for that future that we envision. And also because today the future of higher education is in debate. So we're, in all countries there is an ongoing debate on what kind of higher education we need to train or to educate the citizens that will not feed, because we don't feed, that will be active participants in the creation of the sustainable development and fair society that the agenda is promising.